So, speaking of changes, it feels like, or it seems like NXT is about to hit the road. They are set to hit the road in October. They actually signed a new deal with CW for a media rights deal, which is much much more than whatever money they're getting on USA. And they're going to be hitting the road. They announced their first two shows. One is going to be in Chicago, and CM Punk will be there, and then the next show will be in St. Louis, and Randy Orton will be there.
Ooh.
So I wanted to know how you felt about NXT hitting the road once they hit the CW. Do you think it's going to be a success? Do you think it won't be?
Oh yeah, it definitely has to be a success. This is the best I think NXT has looked since it was in the 1.0 era. And you definitely could like treat it as if it is a third brand, like legitimately treat it like it's a third brand. And I do love the idea that they are going to a common wrestling city that is Chicago, and that they're presenting it with two veterans. Like I think that's the smartest way to go about it, especially if you want to like get some numbers in the stadiums. But that's awesome. I'm pretty sure all of the talent that's on board during this time period are excited for the shift. Um, just I love everything they've been doing with NXT, especially with like how much they were testing and playing around with it through the pandemic up until now. Like all the changes that they made to it, how can I put it? I feel like what I like about NXT now is that not only does it feel like it's a third brand, or third yeah, it is a third brand. I like the idea that it's a third brand and all that, but it feels like it's actually part of the entire show. I like how they're presenting all the characters over there. It feels like to me, God damn, I'm losing my point. What point was I trying to make? I had a point and I lost the point because I was babbling. You want to take that over, Jordan? Because you keep talking and then you're muted again.
My bad. No, I was saying, you were saying that it was better than the 1.0 era, and
No,
that they've been testing with a lot of different things, and then you kind of like straight off a little bit. But
yeah. No. In general, I'm happy what's happening with them. It's the best it's ever looked. I'm just happy for everyone that's over there. Um, does that mean, I guess, are they going to mix it up enough to where they have more main roster people over there and they stop treating it like it's developmental? I
yeah,
guess is what I was trying to get at before I just had a brain fart and skewed off to the left.
I think they do. I think they do, because if you are hitting the road, that means that you now have to bring people into seats. So I do expect to see maybe some underutilized talent from the main roster that have a little bit of a buzz um, hit NXT. I also
Mhm.
feel like the road in itself is just a different experience for wrestlers. And so I think that you need vets there to kind of help them navigate what it's like to be on the road, like not just necessarily hitting different markets, but like, you know, going from city to city and making towns and like having to book hotels and cars. And this is a new experience for a lot of them, because you think they train and perform in the same place every single time, every single week. It's Performance
Mhm.
Center is where they have NXT. Performance Center is where they train. So I think that they need to be able to have people that are going to help them with that road experience, because it can be a little bit of an adjustment, right? To people who are not used to it, right? Even with nutrition, right? To be able to stay in shape on the road is an experience within itself. And I think that there's definitely going to be some people who will want to be alongside them while that
Mm.
happens. As it pertains to Punk being in Chicago and Orton being in St. Louis, obviously these are two great moves. They're legends, right? Like Punk is a legend in Chicago. Randy Orton is just a legend in general, right? These are two icons and two pillars of WWE. And I think that this is very, very indicative of the worth that they have to the company. The fact that they can just call them up. Ooh, we need to talk about this, because y'all owe Phil an apology, because when he came in, all I heard was that he's a cancer, that he's toxic, that he's not good backstage, and he's been nothing but good. He's been nothing but good backstage. He's been nothing but good backstage. He's had a great rapport. He's helped out with younger talent. You don't hear anything bad from anybody, including the people that don't like him. Like the fact that he was able to be in a ring with Seth Rollins and a ring with Drew McIntyre, who apparently have real life heat with him, and we don't hear any leaks, we don't hear any stories, we don't hear anything. I think that we need to owe CM Punk an apology,
But
regardless of
who's
how.
to say that being in that rat hole crack house that is AEW, that he just didn't feel humbled?
I mean, no, I don't think it was a matter of him feeling humble. We talked about, like, remember, I think his complaint and his whole grievance of AEW was like, yo, these people are kids. Like, these people don't know how to act, they don't know how to carry themselves, they don't know how to move as wrestlers. And then as soon as he leaves, all of a sudden, Britt Baker getting fined and suspended, MJF's punching holes through the wall, Max Caster is on Twitter talking about we don't want Shelton Benjamin here, who's a legend, right? It's like all of the things that Punk was complaining about AEW started to really come to the surface the moment that he left the company. So I'm not saying Punk was right. I'm just saying Punk was right. But back to the main point, which was NXT. I feel like they are in a great position. I feel like they can do really, really well on the road. I want to see what venues they are going to be holding these they're going to be holding these events at, because I feel like that's going to determine how the events look. I really hope that they're not doing arenas, not because I don't think that they can do them, but I just think that the show is going to look better if it's in a much intimate environment, because it's going to look packed, it's going to look crowded, and I think it's going to look really, really good on TV. Nevertheless, though, I'm really, really happy that NXT is in this position where they're hitting the road again. I need to see them take their PLEs on the road as well. So I hope that they, obviously, like, we're out of the takeover era, right? We're out of the takeover era, unfortunately, but they're still doing like stuff like Heat Wave and Great American Bash and Halloween Havoc. I would love to see stuff like that get like a PLE treatment. So I want to know how y'all feel though about NXT hitting the road. Let us know in the comments below, but we're gonna be moving on.